Hello, my name is Treenee Lopez, and I'm from Coquitlam, British Columbia, in Canada.
What's your background? Where did you come from?
I came from the Philippines originally. I arrived in Vancouver in 1978.
Wow.
Yes, I was just a new graduated from the nursing school. So, yes, it was like was quite anxious, apprehensive, because I thought it's a new country. Canada is not my place that I was thinking I would go, but my sister was already here, and she sponsored me and the rest of the family in 1978. So I was the second one that came to Canada. My brother, older one, was already here in 1977. So I came here in 1978 in February.
It's great. In February, when it was cold.
It was cold, yes.
Wow. It's a big change from the Philippines.
Yes,
right?
yes. But we do have a place in the Philippines, which is in Baguio. Those are the places that we sort of compare to the North America, that we have this cold place, you know. But of course, it's still a shock to your system when it's cold, you know, different. Because the Philippines is very, very hot
I know.
and sunny.
Yeah. It's amazing there. Where in Philippines you are?
Manila,
Manila?
Philippines, yeah.
It's great. Always sunny, right?
Yes, city girl.
It's great. And what brought your family to Canada?
My sister actually originally sponsored me. She was actually in, when she first traveled, she went to Germany, in West Germany, but I guess she decided, this is like any immigrant, she wanted to help the family. So she immigrated to Canada. And so as soon as she got in here, got herself settled, and then sponsored, you know, my brother first. In 1977, he came to Canada, and then the following year, in February, I came to Canada. And as I said, I was kind of like not really thinking of going to Canada, because a lot of my classmates in the nursing school are going to the USA, except me. Everybody like going to the US, you know, that's the destination at the time. But I went to Canada because my sister sponsored me to come to Vancouver.
That's great. You mentioned that all your classmates were like moving to the US, and your sister wanted to come to Canada. And what were you looking for? What people from the Philippines were looking for when they thought about moving to another country?
Of course, it's for better improvement of your life, you know, because we're not rich. You know, we came from a poor family. So education is very important for all the, you know, like the Filipinos. So once, you know, you get educated, you think of, you know, finding a better way to help the family, because that's how the Filipino culture is. You know, family is very important to us. So we help each other. So, yeah.
Amazing, amazing. I'm glad you're like this. And you stick together, right? That's good.
Yes. But of course, once you come to Canada, it's a new, different life. We became more independent. And that's one of the things that I learned, actually, is that I became more independent. I remember when my father finally came to Vancouver, actually Coquitlam, because we moved from Vancouver to New Westminster, my first place that I stayed, my sister's apartment, and then we moved to Coquitlam. And my father, when he came here, I went grocery shopping, so I was carrying all those heavy stuff, right? You know, bags of groceries. And my father said, "Oh, that's really different," you know, because at home, you don't do those things. You usually have big brothers, you know, the guys are going to be helping, you know, carrying stuff, instead of, you know, the women or, you know, the girls carry stuff. So when he saw me, that was kind of really different from, you know. But I find that, you know, being independent is one of the good things that I learned right away when it came to Canada.
Yeah, that's
You
good.
know, you cannot really depend, you know, especially if your family is not here yet, right? So you have to be on your own. You have to learn to do a lot of, you know, washing and although it's more convenient because you don't do a lot of those by, you know, what do you call it, mechanical or physical. We have all those electrical gadgets now once you're in, you know, in Canada.
Yeah.
I just graduated from college at that time, so I don't know a lot of things because, you know, when you're studying back home, you focus on your studying in school. So those things are taken care of by your parents, you know. So that's why I value the independence that I learned when I came to Canada.
What do you think was the biggest challenge you faced when you first came?
I think the very first challenge was I had to pass the exam, the nursing exam, you know. So that's where I kind of delved in right away, is sort of like, I have to pass this because that's my future, you know, in here. My sister is a nurse too. So I was able to get some kind of also support from her in terms of knowing, you know, what to do. So we went to the RNABC, the nursing library, so where we borrowed some, you know, books to study, self-study. I don't think I can afford to do some kind of like paying for, you know, learning to you know, review, right? So I did my own self-study. So I came in February. But I think I have to write the English exam first. And I think that's still one of the challenges for those international educated nurses or professions that come to Canada. They have to pass the English exam. And so I did that, and I was very happy because I did it, you know, right away, passed it right there.
Wow.
And then, of course, by August, I have to write the nursing exam, the board exam. That's all I have to do. Now there's so many different requirements for those international educated, you know, nurses that they have to go through. There's assessment, all those type of things. So I kind of really feel, you know, sad for them because it's different. But of course, we have to really understand too that there are standards that we have to follow when you are coming to a country. You have to follow the rules and standards to be able to work, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
How about in terms of adaptation to the new weather, the climate, the language? How was that? Like, what challenge did you face that way?
Well, of course, my sister was actually prepared.
Oh,
She knows, like, because she knows that I have to get a lot of those jackets, you know. So get all those jackets that, you know, for winter, I mean, for that type of weather at the time. But it's kind of nice because that was heading to spring. So it's a little bit different. One of the things that I really remember is that back home, because it was so hot, you have to carry an umbrella because it's so hot, right? To protect yourself from the sun. So when it was summertime here in Canada, in Vancouver, I remember I was carrying an umbrella, and my sister, "Don't do that." I said, "Why? You look like a senior citizen." I'm sorry, I'm senior citizen now, but that's how it is. People like to be under the sun, and here I am, was just like, you know, got an umbrella, so you look weird. That's supposed to say, but okay, one of the things I learned, okay, you know, but even if it's sunny here, it's still kind of cool, right? So you have to get those kind of a jacket.
Okay, you said you live in Coquitlam right now, and
Yes.
do you have a special place there that you feel home, that you feel that you belong there?
Oh yes, yes. Because when we came here in 1978, we lived in an apartment. Then my sister decided to go back to Europe to work there. So we thought maybe we could, you know, find a place. And the apartment we're staying at the time was being sold. So we kind of looked for a place, and then eventually my sister and my friend and myself decided to buy a house. That was in 1979. At the time, this is another thing, in 1979, we were told, as single people, you are not able to buy a house with a mortgage because we're all single, three of us together. At the time, the requirement is that you have to be married, to be able to buy a house. But I guess, I don't know how we were able to, but we were able to, I kind of established a relationship, kind of being a friend to the builder of the house that we kind of like, moved in Coquitlam. And so I guess he was able to help with the bank and so we were able to secure a mortgage with 3 single ladies at the time. That was in 1979. So unlike today, as long as you're single, you have the money. Of course, we don't have that money, but we were pulled together, 3 of us, So, yeah. It's something that kind of look back and thought, oh, that's not really...
You made it.
Yeah, it's not really normal.
Yeah.
3 single ladies buying a house together. But eventually, we decided to split the the accommodation, and so we're all okay.
I was going to ask you, in your own experience, there's something that you can think that we can do as a community to welcome the newcomers?
Yes, I think that's very important that when we have newcomers, that they should be helped, assisted, because as she said, when I came here, I don't have that type of program, but my sister was with me, so she's there to help me, right? But if you're a newcomer, individual, or single, or by yourself, even with your husband, there's so many things that you have to learn. Opening a bank account, that you have to buy or try to get a credit card, you don't really buy cash. Those are so many things. Taking the bus, where to go, because back in the Philippines, transportation is like, you stop on this side and you can pick up a jeepney. But here, there's a specific place for you to go and wait for the buses. Like, I wasn't even used to that myself too, right? But you learn all those things. So you can teach the newcomers all those little things, and also give them some time to also express how they are feeling, because it's very, very important, How are you doing? Like, oh my gosh, especially if you're alone. So when I came here too, I remember I was part of this with Mosaic, which is a kindness club. So I was part of that. So we have that newcomer program. And so they sort of pair us with newcomers, and we go for coffee. We can decide how many times a week we want to. So at least, and then sit down, and then you do the same thing, kind of like, try to talk about what's needed, like how you're feeling, where you're staying, and sometimes we are there to celebrate their, event, like, where they come from. I have one Chinese lady, so we kind of celebrate the Chinese New Year when she was, here. Like how she will do it, because she was by herself. Mm-hmm. So those type of things, right? So Chinese New Year, which is also different from our Canadian, the North American New Year.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the things that
to have
very
ability,
important.
right? Like
yeah.
when we first come.
Yeah. Or just sometimes just sitting together and having coffee, just enjoying the place, taking pictures, like enjoying. But those are the earlier years that, I started to become more community oriented as a volunteer. So those are the things that I was able to kind of give back, some of my time. But of course, at the time I was also busy working. But if you really want to help, I think it's also nice to be able to give some support in your community if you're able. Giving back, what was given to you before,
Yeah.
and you feel better.
And any other message you feel like spreading around to your neighbors as an immigrant? Like maybe something that we can think about as a community to help to be more inclusive or something like that?
I think the important thing is when you're in a place, which was before, we always, in the neighborhood, we always kind of like say hello to them. If there's a new neighbor, you kind of say hi. But of course, right now, it's not that easy because a lot of times we're all busy with our own, life, especially now that you're more focused on so many things, But I think that's one of the things that you should be able to do is that, in the neighborhood, if you're in that particular community, if you would be able to say hi to your, your neighbors that just arrived, So in my place, there's a lot of people that are in and out. I think we're the oldest that are actually in that location, in that house. But there's a lot of, like, our next door neighbors, our young families. There's a house across us, and I think there's quite a few families that already move in and out. Young families. I think I'm the oldest in that area, in that, kind of the area that I'm living now, right? Yeah, it's important that this kind of extend, our welcome to these people, because it's really nice to be able to, be there, and if there's anything that can happen to, you can help each other and be able to, work together for your community in your area.
And that's exactly what the idea behind this project is. So the name, Nice to Meet You, is kind of you introducing yourself to your neighbors. Just to share your story and let them know that you're there for them, that they can be there for you too, and then bringing this connectivity, with the community. And yeah, so heading to the end of the interview, I would like to ask you if you can say the name of our project in your mother tongue, if you can. Nice to meet you in Tagalog.
Nalulugod ako na na ma-meet kita or makasalamuha kita. And we always say mabuhay. That was kind of our greetings, like our general greetings is mabuhay. And we say salamat at nagkaroon tayo ng pagkakataon to mag-usap sa aking mga neighbors. So I just said thank you, and I'm glad I was able to meet my neighbor.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you too.
Nice to buhay.
Thank you.
Yeah.